There is a new dating and sex advice thing in the Chicago Tribune. And in Chicago, you don't really need it. It's just bar, get drunk. You're dating. That's really all it takes in Chicago. And wearing lots of fleece while doing it. I'm a 23-year-old woman, and I've recently started dating this amazing guy. But the thing is, he lives like 1,000 miles away from me. Fine, like 3 hours actually. She really writes like she talks, I think. I really want to make this work and build trust between us, since we can't see each other as often as we'd like. Got any tips? Dear LDL, what's that stand for?
Long distance lover.
There you go. You guys make the word lover sound palatable. You also have the freedom, time, and space to devote to your interests and relationships. She's saying this to why long-distance relationships are good. Plus, sex in LDRs tends to be amazing because you've got all this anticipation building when you're not together. And when you are together, you appreciate your togetherness more. Word repetition. Make sure to set up regular video chats, phone calls, texts, and sex to keep your connection strong.
That's too much effort.
You are allergic to effort. Share your daily highs and lows. Send jokes and memes. Oh, this is too. You would never. And random thinking of you messages. Fuck no for Joe. If you're unhappy from missing your partner, or if you're disappointed, tell him. It's better to address issues early than let them fester. Get creative on virtual dates. Send them a care package. What is this, a kid in camp? A handwritten letter, scented with your perfume, or something that you wouldn't do none of these. As far as dealing with jealousy, be very open and honest. Lay down parameters, whether or not you're exclusive. Basically, all the stuff.
Well, all the stuff's going to make him dump you if you do all of that right now.
Well, I would also love to hear Mike Baker's opinion on this, because I'm sure he has been in some long distance situations with.
Oh my God!
Right now.
I do feel oddly qualified to talk about this long distance thing.
This is a perfect story for you.
It is a perfect story for me. When I was younger, not a lot of people know this, but I was a radio disc jockey. And
what?
That tracks, though. I do believe
you do have a good. You do have a good voice.
And I did at one station on the East Coast. I did a late night show called The Tunnel of Love. And
what? How do I not know this?
Basically, I was playing. The station was playing romantic music, and then I would offer up relationship advice.
Oh my!
It was fantastic.
Oh my fucking! Please tell me you still have some clips.
I do. I still have some. In those days, they just recorded. You'd either on reel to reel, or you'd have the carts. The old tape carts.
Oh, sure.
You'd put in. So I still have some of those. It was shocking how many times you get a call during the show at like 1 a.m. and it would be some lady on the phone saying, I'm fairly lonely in case you wanted to come by.
I'd be more shocked if you're about to say you didn't.
I was gonna say, were they cute though?
What's that?
Were they cute though, the ladies?
Radio. We don't know.
You don't go. Have you ever watched Play Misty for Me? You don't go to some listener's house. Good God.
Well, now, first of all, I will pay you money if we can get some clips for next week.
Okay. How much money?
We'll discuss off air.
And B, why is it so little?
But by the way, we have to listen. Oh my God.
We have to listen, but also there has to be a way. Five Fan does a lot of work, and I don't even know if he does this kind of work, but I would love it animated. Like I would love.
Oh
gosh,
that's
it's
asking
audio, right? So if we were able to then see a young Mike Baker, in all of his DJ glory, and see sort of the scene set, that would be incrable.
Oh man, God,
it was quite the days. That was back when radio was king.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sounding. I'm not Casey Kasem and I'm not Wolfman Jack, but the fact that I've used both those names kind of tells you that maybe I am from that era.
So wait,
I'm lost.
so Baker,
fucking unbelievable. This is great news.
We need to know some of your advice, or after listening to this, do you have advice for people in long distance relationships? Is there anything people should focus on or remember?
Jealousy is the big killer. That's the big killer of not just long distance relationships, but many relationships. You have to figure out a way. If you're a jealous person, you have to figure out a way to tamp that down. Otherwise, it's a dead end. You'll drive somebody away.
Yeah.
most commonly asked question while you were doing this show?
Can you come over?
Yeah, that might have been it. No, I do. It was such a bizarre range of questions. I don't think I was tracking and thinking to myself, boy, that gets asked all the time. It's just, but
I cannot
can see why
wait to
people
hear this.
enjoy those shows because when you're on that side, when you're just sitting in the station, it's enormously entertaining. But those shows used to be really popular. Those late night call-in shows.
Also, like you could have been Delilah. Does everyone know Delilah?
Yeah.
Delilah.
I only know Delilah from, tells more about me than Delilah, from like NPR segments about Delilah.
Who is Delilah?
Delilah. She does like a late night and they do music, but then she'll have people call in. This song is dedicated to Brian's lover. Brian's lover is away, stationed somewhere else. Well, Brian, I hope you're hearing this. And does a whole thing, and
They're celebrating 83 years today.
Yeah.
This is the best.
And then they do that lilting tagline with Delilah, and they'd sing it, and it would just
Delilah. She
I
also
think
has
that
like
was
a
it.
crazy
That's damn
story,
right.
right?
That's
She has like 10
exactly right.
kids.
Yeah, I don't know her story. I
Yeah.
haven't researched her enough. Bill, I can't believe you don't know who this is.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like something you would know.
Pranking me.
But there's a few. I mean, there are a few words that I would stay away from when I was doing that. Lover was one of them. I just can't. I can't say a moist is another. Moist ointment.
Did you ever mess? Am I allowed to ask questions too? I don't know if I
Are
have.
you kidding me?
question
Please.
asking
He's sick of
privileges.
hearing from us.
Did you ever mess with people? Like, did you ever give people like, somebody would say like, I just started dating this guy or long distance. Would you ever be like, you need to drive to his house right now with like a guitar and sing outside his window?
Yeah, all the time, which made it just more entertaining. So you're absolutely right. That was half the joy of it, was just fucking with people. You know what you should do? Do you have a boombox? Yeah, I have a boombox. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put in your mixtape of Sha Na Na, and I want you to take it to her house, and I want you to stand outside the house and turn that boombox on all the way. It'll drive her crazy.
Why do I have a feeling that you actually specialized in breaking couples up and sleeping with the now ex-woman? I feel that was the side venue here. Purposely giving bad advice, tracking her down.
I'd watch that reality TV show.
But also,
Yeah,
when
I think you've come up with a new project.
This is an undercover gig in MK Improv, guys. I'm just putting that for your notes.
speaking of, when was the moment as you're doing this, you're like, nah, I got to join the agency? Like, at what point was there,
What broke you?
Yeah, I think, one night the director of the agency's wife called in with a problem. And
Was she lonely?
so, no, I'm kidding.
What advice would you give someone who is dating someone for a while and they person thinks that they have a different name than they do and a different profession than they do, and indeed they're working for the government?
Yeah, I know.
I feel like you have some personal experience with that.
That's
I'd be
a tough
so
one.
happy with that.
That's
That'd
one
be
you
so
have to
exciting.
really work on breaking that news. Or you just blurt it out when you're in bed and drunk. But either one works.
Can see why I didn't hold on to this gig for that long.
By the way, I'm going to name drop here. My wonderful, most excellent wife and I, one fine morning, had brunch with Helen Mirren.
What?
And her husband Taylor. Wonderful people.
How did that happen?
Wait,
And
Helen
got
Mirren is
absolutely
married to a
hammered.
guy
And-
named Taylor?
Yeah, she's
That's
married to Taylor
amazing.
Hackford, the director. Taylor's a
wow.
excellent director. But anyway, both of them couldn't have been more delightful. We just got more and more hammered over the course of
Oh,
the 7
I
hours.
hate that. Would be
Amazing.
that would be an all-timer for me.
okay, wait, I have so many questions.
I know why.
Was this an unlimited boozy brunch?
Is Taylor hot?
Who paid? Who picked up the bill?
We were in one of those establishments where you have to pay for every drink.
Every drink.
No unlimited mimosas?
Sir, bottomless salad or anything like that.
I know why you did. You're gonna get ready to be impressed. I know why you had brunch with her.
Why?
She was researching her role in Red.
No.
Maybe they're just friends, Bill. God.
No chance. She was
Oh,
researching
maybe
her
they're
role
just
as a CIA
friends.
agent for something.
Yeah, Taylor came to our wedding. He couldn't have been more gracious. So
Yeah.
Really?
Aw.
Oh my God.
Taylor had to
he
do
kept standing
research.
up during the ceremony yelling "cut." So,
He was talking
No,
about your
but
circumcision.
Baker, I am actually curious. In that sort of a situation,
That is awesome.
who does pick up the bill? Do y'all
Yeah.
split it? Like, how did that work?
no, you know what? They picked up the bill. They couldn't
Okay.
have, again, they're just genuine regular people. But I don't want to make it sound like we're lifelong friends and we go on vacations together. But we'd had some contact together, and they just couldn't have been more wonderful. So, and she's one of my wife's favorite people.
Oh my God. Well, how did you guys meet to begin with?
I was working on a film project of Taylor's.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Excellent.
I thought.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Helen Mirren. I'm like, no.
I was so impressed with myself. Fuck. Go ahead, Joe. You can
Well,
pick
hey,
a fun one.
this is a nice little segue. Speaking of brunch and going out to eat and tipping, the headline of this is Woke and Broke from the Daily Mail. Just 35% of Gen Zers tip, a new survey finds, compared to 83% of wealthier baby boomers who always give a gratuity. They did a study, Bankrate did a study of about 2,500 people, although it did not say from what country, which I think is important because tipping is definitely more suggested in the United States, being that we get a lower hourly wage. But it goes past even sit-down restaurants. Gen Z is even less generous when it comes to hairdressers and barbers, with just 24% tipping. 70% of baby boomers say they tip at the salon. Although then the trend is reversed when it comes to household services. With fewer baby boomers tipping for like landscaping and things like that. Although across the board, women are more likely than men to tip for services.
We want people to like us, and that's how you get them to like you.
But guys want to impress girls with big tips.
But no girl is delivering your stuff.
The other thing I would say, just in terms of the generations, I think that more baby boomers have worked jobs in the service industry than probably Gen Zers have.
Had work jobs, period, probably. Than
Or
more
that
Gen
too.
Zers.
And I think that I can generally, if I receive a bad tip when I'm working at the bar, it's because, or I say to myself, either they haven't been touched in a while or they have never worked in the service industry, and that's why they're not tipping.
Both track.
Because you're either not happy and depressed, or you just don't know. You don't know. And if you've been in it, if you've been in the trenches of working in a restaurant, you know what's appropriate.
Yeah.
Baker, are you teaching your kids to be good tippers? I sure hope so.
Oh, no, absolutely. Look, I fall in that category of I always tip, and particularly, I tell you what, during the pandemic and post-pandemic, I tip like a motherfucker because, it's somewhat tough out there. And my oldest boy, Scooter, he's worked in a local restaurant there in our town since he was 15. And there's a tremendous number of lessons, including, how to treat customers and how you want to be treated as a service provider. So a lot of lessons there. What I find most charming about this, I don't really know the generational differences necessarily, and I certainly don't have a lock on the years. I'm always confused by what years are Gen Z, what years are Gen whatever. But I will say the trend that I find humorous is when now you purchase something and they turn the machine around to you and say, it's just going to ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
Just going to ask you a few questions.
Few
You're like, it's going to say, do you like long walks on the beach? But there it is. There's your tipping array, your various percentages. But there's no easy way to say, and here you go. How about a tip? So
and that's
and they start at like 45%. So it's like 45, 50, 55.
Is Israel a big tipping country? Because some places they just don't. People make a working living.
Yeah, Israeli tip, but a good tip is like 15%. And I'm not going to make any Jewish jokes, but I have to remind my parents when they come here that they have to tip like a little more than like 12-15%.
It's really going to hurt our tourism, actually.
But you don't tip cabs, so it's like every country has their own rules.
Yeah.
And when somebody goes to Israel, I'm like, I'll give them all the recommendations, the food, and and just remember, don't tip the cab driver. Like, it's really important.
Has an operative
money.
That's the thing. Like, it's so hard to keep. Every little thing is so different, and it's very. You're going to trip up. Has an operative ever blown his cover for tipping too much, not enough, by not knowing the local culture?
Customs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could. That's That's a really good point. That's something that we're dealing with in MK Improv in one of the episodes.
Yes.
But,
called just the tip.
There are a number of cultural norms that you have to understand if, in fact, what you're doing is trying to blend in as a local, right? You may be there in some other alias or some cover, but if you're in a third country operating as a local for whatever reason, then you need to know those cultural norms. And you're right, tipping is one of them. Now, it wasn't during an op, but I remember one time landing in a Southeast Asian country to do something, and one of the guys picked me up and he said, "Hey, you hungry?" And I said, "Sure." So we stopped at some street cafe in the middle of this Southeast Asian city, and we ate and had something to drink, and I threw down some money as a tip. And I remember this guy, and so this kind of goes counter to the idea that baby boomers are across the board great tippers, because he's basically my age. But he looked at me as I put the money on the table and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm leaving a tip in this incredibly poor third country." And he looks at me and he legitimately says, "You're going to ruin it for the rest of us." Wow.
So without identifying the Southeastern Asian country you were in, we can certainly deduce that they're full of dicks. So that narrows it down a little bit.
But if you with your $2, they could have bought like a new well for the community or something.
Exactly. He could have built a recreation center and a new school.
A school for girls. Yeah.
Oh, I was in Australia for several months before I realized I was the only idiot that was tipping. Mm-hmm. That was a tough pill to swallow, because I shockingly was not made of money back then. I am now.